Notice, success is not guaranteed for all environments. We are not responsible for any results of this operation. Please back up your data and proceed at your own risk.
You know the feeling. You sit down, ready to get to work, and nothing. Your wireless mouse is just a paperweight, your headphones won't connect for that big call. That sudden, infuriating moment when your devices just give up on you is, let's be honest, a classic Windows headache. But don't worry, we're going to fix it today. It is probably one of the most common questions out there for any Windows user, and the answer? Well, it can be all over the place. But the solution doesn't have to be. We're going to walk through this the smart way, starting with the super simple, most common fixes, and then work our way down to the deeper system-level stuff. So let's start unraveling this thing one step at a time.
Okay, before we dive into any of the more advanced tools, let's just start with the absolute basics. You'd be surprised how often the solution is hiding in plain sight, just a click or two away, right there on the surface.
Your very first stop should be the quick settings panel. On both Windows 10 and 11, just hit the Windows key plus A, and it'll pop right up. You're looking for that BlueTooth icon. If it's blue or highlighted, you're good. It's on. If it's gray, it's off. Simple. And hey, on Windows 11, if you don't even see it, don't freak out. Just click that little pencil icon, and you can add it right back. It's the fastest way to get a read on the situation.
All right, now for what I call the guaranteed method. If that quick toggle is missing or you just want to be 100% sure, the Settings app is the source of truth. Hit Windows plus I to jump right in. It looks a little different between Windows 10 and 11, but you're hunting for that main Bluetooth toggle switch. If this thing is switched off, well, then you know Windows itself has turned Bluetooth off.
Okay, so what happens when you go to the Settings app and the on-off switch is just gone? Poof. Vanished. This is where the real troubleshooting begins, and it's our first big clue that the problem is a little deeper than just a simple on-off switch.
Before we start digging around in the system's guts, let's check two very common culprits. First, is airplane mode on? It's easy to hit by accident, and it's basically the master kill switch for all wireless stuff, so that's a quick and easy thing to rule out. Second, it's possible the Bluetooth adapter itself has been disabled at a deeper level. We're going to have to dig a bit to find that one.
To really figure this out, we need to talk directly to the hardware. And for that, we have to go to the main control room for your entire PC, a little place called the Device Manager. Getting there is actually really easy. Just right-click on your Start button and you'll see Device Manager right there in that handy little menu. Once you open it up, just scan the list. You're looking for a category that's literally called Bluetooth. If you see it, that's a fantastic sign. It means Windows can at least see the physical hardware is there.
But what if you open Device Manager and there's no Bluetooth category at all? It's just not there. It can feel like your computer doesn't even have Bluetooth anymore. But don't give up just yet, because there's a hidden trick that often brings it right back into view. Up at the top, there's a powerful little option in the View menu called Show Hidden Devices. This tells Device Manager to show you everything it's ever known about, even stuff that isn't currently active. Sometimes, after a wonky update, Windows just pretends it can't see the Bluetooth adapter. This one click can often make that missing Bluetooth category magically reappear. Okay, now look closely at your Bluetooth adapter in that list. Do you see a tiny little black arrow pointing down on the icon? If you do, bingo, you found the problem. That little arrow means the device is disabled. Windows sees it, it knows it's there, but it's been told to ignore it. A simple right-click and choosing Enable Device can bring it back to life in an instant.
So, if you've made it this far and your Bluetooth is still not working, it's time to tackle the #1 cause of persistent, annoying Bluetooth issues, the driver.
So what on earth is a driver? Think of it like a translator. Your Windows operating system speaks one language, right? And your physical Bluetooth hardware chip speaks a totally different one. The driver is that tiny piece of software that sits in the middle and translates between them. If that translator gets corrupted or is using an old, outdated dictionary, the conversation just stops, and that's when your connection breaks.
So, if your Bluetooth was working perfectly yesterday but it's dead today, this is your best first move. A rollback literally undoes the last driver update, taking you back to the version that you know for a fact was working. If a recent Windows update pushed a buggy new driver to your machine, this is almost always the fastest way to fix it.
Now, if rolling back didn't work or the option was grayed out, let's try going the other way. The safest way to get a new driver is through Windows Update itself. But here's the secret. You have to look under Optional Updates. That's where Microsoft hides all the hardware-specific drivers that have been tested and verified. This is the best, most official place to look for an update.
This move is basically a hard reset for your Bluetooth hardware. When you uninstall the device, you're telling Windows to completely forget it ever existed. Then, when you restart your computer, Windows goes, "Hey, what's this new hardware?" and it performs a totally fresh, clean installation of the default driver. It's a really powerful way to clear out any gunk or corruption left behind by old updates.
All right, we've checked the easy toggles, we've woken up the hardware and device manager, and we've wrestled with the drivers. If you are still stuck after all that, it's time to bring out the final options, the bigger system resets.
Okay, here's a bit of a pro-level trick. Windows has all these little helper programs running in the background, and they're called services. Well, there's one specifically for Bluetooth. Sometimes the hardware is fine, the driver is fine, but this background service just gets stuck. Going into this services.msc tool lets you give that one specific program a restart, which can often jolt everything back into working order.
So this brings us to our last two major options, reinstalling the driver again versus doing a system restore. You can think of it like this. A driver reinstall is like surgery. It's very precise, only affects the Bluetooth adapter, and it's super low risk. System restore, on the other hand, is a time machine for your whole system. So, if you think the problem is just your Bluetooth, stick with the driver. If you think a big Windows update broke a bunch of things, system restore might be the answer.
And here's the most important thing you need to know about System Restore. It is designed to leave your personal stuff alone. Your photos, your documents, your downloads, all of that will be untouched. But, and this is a big but, any apps or any drivers that you installed after the date of that restore point will be gone. It's a trade-off for sure, but it's often the one thing that can finally fix those really stubborn system-wide problems.
So let's just step back for a second. What do we really learn here? We learned that troubleshooting isn't about just randomly clicking around hoping something works. It's a logical process. You start at the surface with a simple toggle. Then you go a level deeper to see if the hardware is even showing up in Device Manager. And finally, you fix the translation layer, the driver. By following this path, you're not guessing, you're actually diagnosing. And that is the key to solving pretty much any tech problem.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? We live in this age where we all expect our technology to just work. It's supposed to be seamless. But when it doesn't, do we still have the patience or even the skills to figure out why? Learning to troubleshoot is about more than just fixing a broken connection. It's about understanding the systems we rely on every single day. Just something to think about.
Welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we're not talking about philosophy or history. We are talking about betrayal.
That's a strong word.
It is. You know the specific kind I mean. You sit down, coffee in hand. Deadline is like 20 minutes away. You reach for your mouse.
Nothing.
Nothing. Just a dead piece of plastic. You give it the shake, maybe smack it on the desk a little.
The universal fix.
Of course. But the cursor is frozen. And then you look down at the taskbar, and the Bluetooth icon isn't just disconnected. It's gone.
It really is the modern equivalent of turning the key in your car and having the steering wheel just, come off in your hands.
Yes.
It's not just an inconvenience. It feels personal, like the machine is gaslighting you.
Gaslighting is exactly the word, because today we are digging into a case study that is going to trigger some PTSD for a lot of Windows users.
I'm ready.
We're analyzing a whole troubleshooting saga. It's a Windows 11 user, an Asus ZivoBook, and a Bluetooth connection that just, poof, ceased to exist.
And we should be clear, you don't mean it failed to pair.
Right. No, I mean the computer itself decided it no longer had a Bluetooth radio inside of it.
Which is a terrifying distinction. And what I love about this case, because we have the forum post, the whole timeline, is how fast it escalates.
So fast.
It starts as this minor annoyance, then it spirals into a potential system bricking panic with system restore, and it ends up in the deep, dark corners of kernel power states.
Right. And the mission here isn't just to say, update your drivers.
No.
We want to peel back the layers to understand why this happens. Why does a piece of hardware that's physically soldered to the motherboard suddenly become a ghost?
And the big one.
And why, and this is the part that just blew my mind, why is the shutdown button in your start menu lying to you?
That's maybe a harsh way to put it, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's accurate.
It's lying.
It's absolutely lying to you, and we'll get to why that is so critical for fixing this later on.
Okay, let's set the scene. Level 1, the have you tried turning it off and on again phase.
The class.
Our user opens their laptop. Yesterday, Bluetooth mouse worked perfectly. Today, dead. So first step, they hit Win+A to open the quick settings panel.
Right, checking the basics. In Windows 11, that's where all the toggles live. Wi-Fi, airplane mode, Bluetooth. You're looking for that blue highlight.
But in this case, the button's either totally missing or it's grayed out, unclickable.
Okay, so step 2.
Step 2. They go to the main settings app, Win+I. They check airplane mode because we've all been that person who accidentally hits a function key and panics.
Oh, absolutely. But no, airplane mode is off.
It's off. So they've eliminated user error. Now it's time for computer error. They go to the device manager.
Ah, the source of truth.
Can you explain what that is for people who, don't live in IT support?
Sure. Think of device manager as like a roll call sheet for the operating system. If a piece of hardware isn't on that list,
As far as Windows is concerned.
it doesn't exist in the machine.
And in this case, they're looking for a MediaTek BlueTooth adapter. That's the specific hardware in this laptop.
And they find it?
They do. Initially. It's there, but it has a problem. So they try the standard playbook. They restart the Bluetooth support service.
Okay, that's a good step. It's like waking up the middle manager who handles the Bluetooth paperwork.
Right. Then they tried disabling the adapter and re-enabling it in Device Manager. They even unpair the mouse to clear out any corrupted connection.
All solid, logical first steps.
But none of it works. And here's the detail that drives me up a wall. The user says, "It worked yesterday."
Ah, the magic words.
I want to pull my hair out when I hear that. If it worked yesterday, why is it broken today?
That phrase, "it worked yesterday," it's actually the most critical piece of forensic evidence we have.
How so?
Because it tells us the hardware isn't dead. It's not a loose cable. It means something in the environment changed overnight. A silent Windows update, a driver patch.
Nothing shifted.
The landscape shifted. And because it worked yesterday, the user makes a fateful decision. They decide to go back in time to yesterday.
They pull the trigger on System Restore.
The nuclear option.
I have such a love-hate relationship with System Restore. Mostly hate. What is actually happening when you click that button? It's not just undo in a Word doc, is
Oh
it?
no, it's significantly more violent than undo.
Violent.
Yeah. System Restore takes a snapshot of your system files and, crucially, the Windows registry, that massive database of settings. When you restore, you are ripping out the current timeline and overwriting it with an old one.
So you're lobotomizing the OS's recent memory.
That's a great way to put it. It doesn't touch your photos, but it wipes the OS's memory of what's been installed or changed.
Okay, so our user starts this lobotomy, the PC restarts, and this is where the horror story really begins.
I know the screen.
Black screen, manufacturer logo, and then the words restoring registry with a little spinning circle.
A classic.
And it just stays there.
Mm.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. The circle is spinning, but there's no progress bar.
Which is frankly just inexcusable user experience design.
Right. The user is sitting there sweating, thinking, did it freeze? Is it stuck? Did I just break my laptop?
The temptation to just hold down that power button is overwhelming.
I've been there. My finger hovering over the button, just bargaining with the universe.
And if you'd pressed it, you might have actually killed the machine for good.
Why? I mean, if it's frozen, what's the harm in restarting?
Because of what it's doing, when it says restoring registry, it's actively writing to this massive, delicate database. If you cut the power mid-write, you corrupt it.
And a corrupt registry means?
It means Windows literally doesn't know how to load itself. You get a blue screen of death or just a boot loop forever.
So you're a hostage, you can't turn it off, but you don't know if it's working. But this is where the source material had a trick I had never heard of. The caps lock test.
Yes. This is old school tech wizardry. Everyone should know this.
Okay, explain it to me. How does my caps lock key know if my computer's dying?
It all comes down to how the computer handles input. The keyboard sends a hardware interrupt, it's a very, very low-level request, directly to the CPU. If the kernel, the absolute core brain of the OS, is still functioning at all, it will process that interrupt and toggle the little LED light on your keyboard.
So even if the screen is totally frozen, if I can tap caps lock and that light blinks on and off.
The brain is still live, the graphics might be hung, the application might be stalled, but the kernel is running. It's telling you, I'm busy, do not touch that power button.
That is unbelievably reassuring.
In the logs, the user also said they could still move the mouse cursor. That's another great sign.
So the lesson is, if the light blinks, just go get a coffee and wait.
And patience is the only fix at that point.
So our user waits. They pass the caps lock test. Finally, the system reboots. They log in, expecting a triumphant return to a working mouse, and nothing. The anticlimax. It's actually worse.
How so?
The Bluetooth is still broken. But now the symptoms have changed. When they go back to Device Manager, the MediaTek Bluetooth adapter isn't even on the list anymore.
It's gone.
It's just vanished.
Now we enter the ghost phase.
It feels like System Restore made things worse.
It complicated things. See, it rolled back the registry, which is like the map of the computer. So the map now says, here's the driver state from last week.
Right.
But the hardware itself might be in a state that doesn't match that old map. So Windows looks for it, gets a confused response, and just shrugs. I don't see it.
So how do you fix a device the computer refuses to see? The user finds this hidden menu option. View-show hidden devices.
And there it is. The ghost.
It's listed, but the icon is like translucent. It's grayed out.
That grayed out icon means one thing. It's what we call error code 45.
Which means?
In plain English, it means this hardware is not connected to the computer.
But that's ridiculous. It's a laptop. I didn't open it up and desolder the chip. It's right there.
Physically, yes. But logically, to the OS, it's disconnected. It's like you have a contact in your phone for someone, the name is there, but if you dial a number, you get, this line is disconnected.
Okay, good analogy. So we have a ghost driver for a disconnected device that is actually connected. How do we exercise this ghost?
The procedure is, it's pretty counterintuitive. You have to destroy it to save it.
Yeah.
You have to right-click that grayed out ghost device and select uninstall.
That sounds incredibly risky. If I delete the driver for the hardware I can't even find, how will I ever get it back?
I get the fear, but you have to remember that entry in the list is corrupted. It's a dead end. You have to clear the board.
Okay, so you uninstall it. Now what? Just restart.
You could. But this is where our user did something very specific, and it brings us back to that lying shutdown button.
Right.
They performed a shift plus shutdown.
Okay, hold on. I've used Windows my entire life. I click Start, Power, Shutdown. What on earth does holding the Shift key do?
So to get this, we have to talk about something called fast startup.
Okay.
Back in the Windows 7 days, booting up took forever because the computer had to load the kernel, scan the hardware, load all the drivers from scratch.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Right, nobody wants to wait 2 minutes for their laptop to boot.
Exactly. So starting with Windows 8, they introduced fast startup. When you click shut down, it doesn't actually shut down.
Oh, what?
It closes your programs, logs you out, and then it takes the loaded kernel and all the drivers and saves them to a hibernation file on your hard drive. Then it powers off.
So it's just hibernating.
It's a kind of hybrid hibernation.
Yeah.
When you turn it back on, instead of loading everything from scratch, it just loads that saved file back into memory. It's way faster.
But wait, if my kernel or my drivers are in a glitched, broken state,
you are saving the glitch. You are preserving the error. You turn it off, you turn it on, and Windows just reloads the exact same broken state it had 5 minutes ago.
that is actually infuriating. I thought shutdown meant start fresh.
Not anymore. And that's why Shift plus shutdown is the magic trick. By holding Shift, you bypass fast startup. You're telling the computer, no, do a real full cold boot.
It forces the hardware to physically reinitialize itself from zero.
Yes, exactly. It forces Windows to load a fresh kernel and actually look at what hardware is plugged in right now.
That is a massive tip. I feel like that should be on a sticker on every laptop.
It really should.
So the user does the shift plus shutdown, turns it back on.
And because they deleted the ghost driver and because they forced a cold boot, Windows wakes up, looks around and says, oh, what is this? I found a MediaTek BlueTooth chip.
It rediscovers its own hardware.
It treats it like a brand new device.
Okay, home stretch. The hardware is found. But now it needs a working driver. And the source notes mention a bit of a driver war here.
Yes, the eternal battle. Windows Update versus the manufacturer.
And Windows Update is usually pretty good, isn't it?
It's convenient. But convenient isn't always stable. Windows Update often gives you generic drivers. But laptops, especially thin ones like a VivoBook, they're weird. They have custom power management, custom everything.
So a generic driver might run the Bluetooth, but it might not handle the sleep state correctly or something.
Exactly. Or it might drop the connection when the Wi-Fi gets busy. The source materials is very clear on this. For a laptop, the manufacturer's driver is king.
Which means dealing with those annoying apps like MyAsus or whatever bloatware came on the machine.
I know, nobody likes those apps. But for drivers, especially chipset and Bluetooth drivers, they are the best source.
And our user didn't just install the Bluetooth driver, they installed the chipset driver first. Why that order?
Think of the chipset as the main traffic cop for the motherboard. It controls how the CPU talks to everything else.
Okay.
If the traffic cop is confused or using an old set of rules, it doesn't matter how good the Bluetooth driver is. The messages won't get through properly.
Chipset first, then Bluetooth. Got it.
And as they do this, they check Device Manager one last time for any yellow bangs.
Yellow bags. Is that a technical term?
It's industry slang for the little yellow exclamation mark triangle you sometimes see.
Oh, okay.
It basically means, I see this piece of hardware, but I have no idea what it is or how to talk to it.
But in our story, once the ghost was gone, the shift shutdown was done, and the official ACES drivers were installed.
The yellow bangs were gone, the Bluetooth icon returned, the mouse connected, the nightmare was over.
I have to say, for a story about a broken mouse, that was an emotional roller coaster.
It really highlights how fragile this whole ecosystem is. We treat these things like appliances, like a toaster. But underneath, it's just millions of lines of code arguing with silicon.
So let's summarize this resurrection protocol, because this is going to happen to someone listening.
It absolutely will. Okay, step 1. Don't trust the shutdown button. If things are weird, use Shift plus shutdown to force a real cold boot.
Step 2. If you use System Restore and it looks frozen, check your caps lock light. If it toggles, the system is alive. Be patient.
Step 3. If a device vanishes, go to Device Manager, click View, and show hidden devices. If you see a grayed out ghost, uninstall it to force Windows to find it again.
And finally, step 4. When it comes to drivers for a laptop, go to the source. Get the chipset and Bluetooth drivers directly from the manufacturer.
That is the complete toolkit.
You know, we started this by talking about betrayal. But hearing all of this, it feels less like betrayal and more like miscommunication.
That's a generous way of putting it. I see it as a reminder that the user interface is often a lie.
A lie.
The shutdown button isn't really shutting down. The undo button in System Restore is actually a rewrite history button. The clean desktop hides this messy, chaotic registry underneath.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
It is. And when the smoke clears, sometimes you just have to manually install a driver yourself.
I want to leave our listeners with a thought on that. We live our lives assuming we can just hit undo. We're conditioned by software to believe everything is reversible.
Right. Control plus Z fixes everything.
But this case proves there's a hard limit to that. You can undo the software registry, but you can't undo the physical state of a Bluetooth chip that has decided to hang. Sometimes the software undo breaks the reality of the hardware.
That's deep. The map is not the territory. The registry is not the computer.
Exactly. It's just messy drivers talking to rocks that we tricked into thinking. That's all it is.
And sometimes the rocks refuse to listen.
Well, on that note, do us a favor. Open your device manager today. Click View, then Show Hidden Devices. Just take a look at the ghosts haunting your own machine.
You might be surprised it's a graveyard in there sometimes.
Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. Hopefully your Bluetooth works tomorrow. We'll catch you in the next one.